Hello, welcome to Reframing Mindset Podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Constant Brooks. And this episode, we're going to talk about things takes time. Things takes time. And you know why I say that? Because you have the same Rome wasn't built in a day, but there was laying bricks. I think every second or something like that. I think that's what the saying says. But the thing about it is that great things don't just happen instantly. It takes time to actually um make it to the way that you that is that you love. And that's the thing where, for example, a lot of people will start maybe listening to this podcast and be like, oh my gosh, I love this podcast and this is my favorite podcast and stuff like that and stuff. But to me, it's it has been a rough journey to get it to this level. And and in my mind I'll be like, sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, why do people listen to this podcast and stuff like that? But certain episode I know why they will listen to it, like the interviews and stuff like that. I was nice, and then my journey to actually get to my degree, those episodes are nice and stuff like that. But over time, you know, there are new listeners and stuff like that, and be like, okay, yes, they're coming in and enjoying the episode and stuff like that, and be like, oh my gosh, and eventually someone will come and what happened is that they realize if you realize that I I don't remember how long I'm doing this, but I had stats for 2 years. 2 years. So Spotify released some stats for 2 years. And then what I realized was that there were certain people that actually listened to it from different countries who religiously and stuff like that. And what I always say is that I don't know if they even understand me or what. Understand the what understand my language. But they listen to it. They listen to it, and then what happens is that they listen to it, they should see the progress. They should see the progress, and then not only that should is. But what happens is that if you're a fan from the inception until it where it is now, you know where it is now, if you're what will happen is that it's one of those things where when I was a fan of certain stuff and stuff, I would and then I would try to explain to people, like for example, my love for Naruto, the show, and there'd be a lot of people that come in trying to break down every argument I'm saying about Naruto and stuff like that. But people don't understand that I like the show. I like the show, so because I like the show, you know it's not nothing is perfect. There are certain stuff I'll be like, oh, okay, it's BS. But the thing about it is that what I realize is that with the as you go further and you, like for example, you get higher in the anime enthusiast, like, so you have your favorite anime, but as you get more people that loves anime, they watch a lot of anime, and then what happens, they have tears, and then you have to actually start. The more you get into, you have to start prove why your anime is the best, and then they go into the greater details and stuff. That's the thing about studying and education as well. As you go higher, you get more criticism. And you have to prove your point more and such. I have the bachelor's level, and you would all be like, "Oh yes, I have this bachelor's." Be like, "Oh yes," but if you go through it, you realize the treacherous, there's a treacherous road to get that bachelor's, and then to get the master's. No, it's an even more treacherous road. It's a more even treacherous than the PhD. Then that is a more treacherous, even more road. But what happened was that on my road to bachelor's, I met a lot of PhD people, and I would hear them be like, like one of my lecturers, I'd be like, "Oh yes, they got like 30 plus stuff published and stuff like that," and be like, "Oh, but you may not realize how hard it was to actually get that one." And when they got that one, now what happened was that that ceiling broke for them. That one got them the PhD degree, and then all of a sudden now, then they got the confidence and be like, okay, now when I meet her, when she started teaching me, she had 30 um thing published, 30 science stuff published, and be like, oh yes. And but you're seeing the glory now, me young in coming for this degree, seeing that glory now, but don't realize the work that she had to put in. Like for example, I listened to some of my lecturers, and they and when I was talking to my lecturers and they were sitting the exam, they they telling me the story about when they usually study for the exam and stuff like that. And it's like, so the life is a cycle. So what happened is that the cycle is you have to actually learn the basics to reach that level. So you have to actually start from the one. You have to come from one or zero, start from the start to reach a higher level. And when you reach that level now, then you become one of the person now that they look up to. You go up to your teacher. You're starting this young baby going to school for the first day and see the teacher that you look up to and stuff like that. But she was a babe one time, and then eventually she had to become the teacher as well. Because what happened was that the world that she grew up in was nothing like that. She was taught something else. But then she grew up and then boom realized, okay, then I need to become a teacher to actually become to push this thing forward. And then boom, it start training the generation. And most of the kids never turn out to what she wanted to actually push the career forward. But certain stuff, people went and stayed and be like, okay, I want to become a teacher because this teacher inspired me. Then they come and then they bring a new style to it now, and then new generation of kids take it, and then boom, most of them go to different profession, but certain one come and that's how the cycle of life come. But things take time. So the level of teaching now that you see now in school takes time to actually. What happens now is visionaries that actually takes up those and then bring something new. So you see the visionary, like for example, hear about my chemistry teacher and stuff like that. She was once a student as well, and then boom, she bring a new visionary style of teaching, and that impacted me. That actually brought out the potential of me becoming that great um chemistry student that actually eventually we got to become get this dream that me and one of my friend had, which was I thought was wild at the time becoming a reality. Me getting the biochemistry degree. Then what happened now is that I'm doing my part now to actually take this degree stuff to the next level. I could actually go to the master and stuff like that. But what happened is now is that I'm trying to make it relevant where it makes sense. It's one thing to have the degree, the next thing to make it make sense. To know why you're getting a degree. So that's the part phase that I'm in now while I'm actually going to try to make it the master and stuff like that. Because ideally I would like to max out everything, get the masters and PhD just for its sake. But I don't want to actually get it and then boom, come back out and just do a simple job because I'm overqualified and stuff like that. No, I want to make it understand the relevance of each phase of it so that boom, you understand the level, the things that you unlock at each level. When you unlock it, be like, okay, yes, you know, that's how you make it relevant. So when I'm going through school and stuff, and there's a lot of people that is looking down on science, not because they're looking at nerds and stuff like that, not because that's the reality, but if you listen to the podcast, you understand what the perks of being a science student is. But it takes time to actually unlock those levels. But once you see the vision, then you'll be like, okay, now I'm motivated now to want to actually get on at least level. When you be like, okay, yes, this is what I can do. Then when you reach a point where you reach the max where I can actually take you, then you be like, okay, I'm younger, I'm a more younger version of him that reached this level. I can take it to another further level. Then you be like, okay, yes, then I know the other person gonna, bro. I never thought of that. Never thought of it. And that's how the excitingness of science come and then boom, that's how a culture change. That's how a culture change where people be like, oh yes, science nerd and stuff like that. No, no, people like, oh my gosh, bro, I'm so excited about science and stuff like that. And be like, oh my gosh. Then be like, yo, I can't believe it. I grew up in a time where people didn't care about science at all. No, everybody was there talking about science like it's stuff. Like for example, like religion. That's how religion is born. But the thing about it is that the same thing with science and religion as well. You come and then there's a certain way of teaching, but the core is there. But you have to actually modernize and bring out new fervor of it so that the core message is there, the core meaning is there. So the first set of people like the Bible, the disciples, that's the thing. If you read the Bible, the end of the Bible, Revelation, they say, don't take anything from the Bible. Don't add a single word. I don't remove a single word. That is important so that the core essence is not um lost. But as each generation pass and stuff like that, then what will happen is that they are more better able to actually convert. They're more better able to actually convert people to their religion because a more modern version and stuff like that. But sometimes the more modern version is not really the great way. Like for example, in my age, at this point, you have things like TikTok and stuff like that. TikTok Christians, and be like the young Christians, like nah. You know, it's a good thing that I was it's a good thing I had my grandmother that actually go through and decide that okay, she pursued the faith for a reason, and then she know why she chose it, so that she was passionate about it, so that when she was teaching me, then I have a great basic start. That's what I needed, a great basic start. Then it's up to me now to actually pursue the faith on my own. Then when I pursue the faith in my own and then make it and then show what the faith can do, then people like, okay, yes, you know, this is what the faith can do. Let me just look into it myself, and then that's how you create thing turn things around. So yeah. So as I said, things takes time. Things takes time, and as you go higher, there's you're gonna try to rush it, and then when you rush it and stuff like that, you don't want to rush it. You have to take your time so that when you actually get the foundation, boom, then you can start actually building the foundation, and then the exponential growth will kick in. That's the thing, the exponential growth. But the thing about the exponential growth is that you have to actually go through that slow phase of getting the things them right. Then when I reach that point now of exponential growth, then you'll be like, okay, yes, you know. But if the exponential growth come, but the foundation is not set, then when it rise, then you fall quick, and that's why you get big businesses that fail quick because they were not able to control the customer demands and control the customer demands and stuff like that. Right, I mentioned in the previous episode as well. So that's basically for this episode as well. Thank you for listening, and look for the next episode where I say out. And not only that, it was said by one of the artists that I did a music review on as well. Alkaline. He has a song called "Things Takes Time." It's not really an appropriate song, but as I leave him acknowledge that things takes time for, in the sense, his sense, the woman and such like that. So yeah, so in life, in everything, things takes time, and if you want to do it the right way and actually get the full nice benefits of what that thing can occur, you have to actually take the time to actually wait and until it flourishes. Like for example, you don't want to eat a fruit when it's not ripe. No, you want it. You get the full nice taste of the fruit when it's really ripe. Then be like, okay, yes. So that's basically for this episode. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Hmm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
31st week of the 95 experience. And as I said, I mentioned around the last week, the last week episode, it's like, that is where the things are turning around. We're becoming an OG. And I never mean that in a literal sense because I've been there a year. But basically, what happened is that the the in all the things that I was learning, I was experiencing the coming up the first year. It starts to make me understand what I say a business year or a business cycle in a sense. And that's one of those things that you learn about. I guess is important in business sense as well. As I mentioned before, when I started the job, I never know how long was going to stay. I never planned. So I was planning that okay, eventually when I'm gone, the